Okay, I don't know where to start. I'm a little bit frazzled. Okay. Take two. Hello, welcome to this video. I'm a little bit nervous doing it, just to put it out there. If you don't know who I am, hello, I'm Rudy or RJ or Rue or whatever cheats. Today I'm going to do a Q&A video about my experience being a trans person. Before I start, what I wanted to say is that everyone's experience being human is very personal, and while there might be some common threads between my answers and the wider community's agreement with my answers, I really want to be clear that this is my experience and I speak for myself, because I realize that a lot of my experiences are obviously personal because they're my experience, but also everyone experiences being transgender or being non-binary or being anything other than cisgendered very differently depending on how you grew up, who you grew up with, what your interests are, just kind of, you know, who you are as a person. What I did was I put out a little question box on my Instagram stories and I asked people to drop their questions in. Nothing was off limits, out of bounds, you know, the whole shebang. I think it's really important, and especially during a time where we've got more time on our hands to be learning about things that we might not have known before, I thought it was a good time to start doing them. So let's crack into it. The first question is, should or can you ask a new friend for their pronouns or wait for them to tell you? This one's a great opener for this video. I guess if they've already introduced themselves and you're already friends and they've maybe said in passing, or they've told you, hey, I'm not cis, or this is my identity, or whatever, most of the time they'll tell you their pronouns. If they haven't, you can say something very supportive and say something like, thank you so much for sharing that with me, what pronouns should I use for you? Or alternatively, if you've met someone at a party or an event or at work, for example, or at school, I'll say something like, hi, my name's Rudy, I use he, him pronouns, nice to meet you. And then they'll introduce themselves. If you've used your pronouns first, normally they then say it back to you. So I think that's a good way of doing it if you don't even know the person's name. But again, if someone's actually told you their identity and let you into that part of them, then I think just saying, something supportive like, thank you so much, what pronouns should I use for you? Okay, so this next one. Do you ever accidentally misgender yourself? Because I do all the time and forget my age and name. Well, I don't think I ever forget my name, but I do forget my age. Yeah, not really. No. Alright, so this next question is a bit more in depth. The question is, how did you figure out which identity and pronouns felt best for you? It is so difficult. It is really difficult. Holy crapola. How did I decide? Good question. When I was about 14 or 15, so I think it was 2011, 12, I first realized that I was not cis. Pretty much. I didn't really have the language for it though. I just knew that I really did not identify with being female, because at the time there was a lot of my friends really taking on board a sense of feminism and a sense of pride in being female. I think that was something that was going through particularly my school at the time, and I wanted so badly to really feel in there with the other girls, but I was not, and I could not understand why. I couldn't identify with this idea of being a female feminist. But as well, what was going on was my best friend Jeremy, he was starting his transition. This is the first photo we have of ourselves together. We are such babies. So basically we didn't really speak for a year because our school campuses are split, and then he came over because he moved up a grade or whatever, and I met him as Jeremy, and I was just sick, cool. And he was really the first person in real life that I knew that was trans. Shortly after Jeremy and I became close as friends again, I kind of really started to identify with how he was feeling, but I still didn't have the language because he is a trans man and I don't identify as being a trans man. I identify with being non-binary trans person. And so anyway, I was still lost for words. I didn't know how to describe this feeling. So yeah, I was just pottering around on Tumblr one day, stumbled across this like Doctor Who fan blog or whatever. It was run by someone, I think their name was Benedict, and yeah, we just started talking about Doctor Who, whatever, and then I found out that they were non-binary. We started chatting and I realised that I really like felt non-binary. So that was probably, I think I was about 15 at the time. I really felt like that was me. Pronouns kind of just fell into being they, them, particularly with Jeremy, because again, he was the only other trans person I knew. And so he used they, them pronouns for me from that time. And I used they, them pronouns around other queer and trans friends since I was 14, 15, up until last year when I decided that I felt closer to he, him pronouns instead. So I decided to move more permanently to he, him. But back to the original question, because I ramble all the time. It's just a process, I think. There's no right or wrong way to figure out what identity and what pronouns are going to be the best fit for you. And at the same time, you don't have to stick with the same ones. Like, truly you don't. I mucked around with like genderqueer, gender fluid, non-binary, like probably other ones. I don't even remember, to be honest. It was like 8 years ago or something. So, it's actually coming up 10 years. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, it's just you just go for it. Like, try things out. Get people around you to try different pronouns if you have people that you feel comfortable with. Really, give it a go. Just have fun. Have fun with it. It's nothing to be afraid of. If you don't feel like something's sitting right with you, just throw it in the bin. Even if you get it back out later, just keep going, and you know, don't be worried that you can't find one that you feel is going to stick either, because things don't have to stick for you to feel comfortable for the time being. You know, just go day by day. I think it's the best way to do it. What has your experience with tea been like? Do you use the gel? I could do a whole video series on this. Let me just grab it. Actually, where have I put it?
One eternity later.
Alright, got my prized possession. So this is, yes, I do use the gel first and foremost. God, my brain. This is Testo Gel. I use this form of testosterone. It is HRT, so hormone replacement therapy. This form of testosterone is suspended in a alcohol-based gel. So it's literally like hand sanitizer. I put it on my whole body. Basically, I'm a tiny human, so it kind of covers a lot of my skin. So I put it on both my shoulders, my stomach, and my upper thighs. That's the way I kind of spread it out. I love this stuff. Honestly, I've thought about going on the injection version of it, which a lot of people are on, but I like this. To me, my experience has been a bit slow, because when I went on HRT, I did know that I wanted to be on it and I wanted to go through that process, but I didn't know at what speed. I didn't know how far I wanted to go with it in terms of the effects that I feel from it. So I started on an incredibly low dose, and it wasn't until about a year ago that I upped my dose to the point where I started to physically transition to the point where I could see the changes and other people could see the changes. Well, some people. And now I'm on what you would kind of classify as a full dose. I am eventually going to physically appear as and pass, I suppose if you want to use that word, as male, which is my dream. So yeah, it's been really good. Just slow. I think, you know, I want to kind of save a lot of the details for another video. So if you are interested in that, please show your support so that I know to keep making these videos. But yeah, it's been good. What can I say? Live, laugh, love. So this one I haven't really thought about because it came in yesterday. So we'll see what comes out of my mouth. Thoughts on how sporting codes with gender binary definitions can adapt. This one's really hard because it's a very personal question to me. I played competitive badminton for like basically my whole life. It's really close to me. This is a very multi-dimensional question because there's a lot of things that go into it, but my first reaction to this question is that you've got to have open, honest, and genuine support and care from the bodies of sport that are conducting competitions, conducting sporting education, coaching education, conducting a space for people to play the sport. I think that it's really important to have the people that are in positions of power to be knowledgeable and to be genuinely supportive of people. So for me, for example, if I was a child who was trans and I had no experience in the sport of badminton, which is the sport that I play, and I wanted to, say, compete at a state level, I would personally want to be coached by someone who knows a bit about what it is to be trans. You know, it comes from the bodies of sport, it comes from the people who are running it, and they need to be open and consistent. I think consistency is the best thing. If you only run a one-off event where it's like, and these are all good things, by the way, but they need to happen more often. Like, for example, we're going to do like a tournament where queer people can enter. Like, it's a queer-friendly tournament, but it's once a year. That's just not enough. I'm sorry. Like, it's just not. And it's one of those things that, you know, Midsummer's great, but it's a carnival and it's like a celebration. It's not a sporting event. It's not competitive. It's not the AFL. Like... Yeah, that one's hitting the soul a little bit too hard. Let's move on to the next question now, because I think this video is going to be quite long. Hello, love heart. Love that you're doing this. Oh, thank you. What is dating like being openly trans? It can be the best thing in the world, and it can also be really, really tough. But what I can say is that my current position is fabulous. Thank you. The relationship I'm in right now is the first relationship where I am openly trans in all parts of my life. So that's work, at home, with friends, everyone. And so for me, I'm in a really different position that I've ever been in. And it's been really refreshing and it's been really good because I don't feel like I'm hiding anything from anyone anymore, which is the best feeling. My boyfriend is cisgendered, and that at the start of our relationship kind of made me worried for like a hot second, because I felt like there might be times where I needed to really explain myself or really like unpack my feelings or whatever about being trans and kind of coming at it from a perspective of like, this person has no idea what it's like to be trans, and so now I need to explain an incredible amount just so he can kind of understand the base level of this emotion that I'm experiencing. However, I'm happy to report that I've never actually had to do that, and it has been so good because it's meant that, you know, I can just live my life, he's living his life, we're living our lives together. So in that way, I feel very grateful and very lucky because I've never felt pressured to explain myself and explain my experiences as being trans. You know, and I understand that not everyone's going to be like that, and there is going to be some people that really want to be with you, but you're going to have to explain and kind of let them in on parts of your life. And I think this goes with anything. I have had experiences in the past where I have consciously decided not to tell people that my pronouns are they, them, for example, because at the time decided that I would rather be with this person and have them not know my real pronouns and not know that I'm not cisgender than to tell them who I actually am and then risk them not liking me. So that is something that I've had to decide between, or I felt like I needed to decide between, but now I don't need to, and it's so much better. Okay, so this one's from a teacher. I teach transgender students. What is something you wish your teachers knew or did? Okay, no one knew that I was trans at school, first and foremost, so this is really just an adult me looking back on a child me or a teenage me and going, what would have they wanted? And also using the experiences that I co-experienced with, for example, Jeremy. So I think, again, this is similar to the sports question in that diversity needs to be added into the curriculum. Like, it's great to have individual teachers and staff members being advocates, being supportive, being knowledgeable, but because a school is an institution, I guess, and it's because of that, I think it's really important to have diversity in the curriculum. For example, just as you would with cultural diversity, add in a text in English where one of the characters is queer or trans. To sport, for example, where you can, because I understand that obviously some sports are binary coded, I get it. Add in parts of your sporting curriculum where you don't pick teams based on like boys versus girls. Like, just don't do it. Add in consistent events consistent fundraisers. Aside from that, the other main one I can really think of is that, so for example, if a kid, Timmy, I don't know, that's their name, makes a comment during class, after class is finished, just saying like, hey Timmy, you can't say that because of this reason, and explain to them why it could hurt someone's feelings or it would hurt someone's feelings. Comments that people make do have a lasting impact on people who are queer, who are trans. Timmy says that one thing and then Rudy goes home and just spirals into this dark hole, and then it really affects Rudy. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that happened to me in high school quite a number of times. It happened to other friends who were queer quite a number of times. And so Timmy's little comment that to everyone else didn't really seem to mean much actually means a lot to the person that has been hurt by it. It's important to educate students, like micro-education, I think, because sometimes, you know, it's not a bigger deal to go like, everyone stop, you can't say this in blah, blah, like the whole class. I don't know, it's tricky because it depends on the student, whatever, but I think that not letting things like that slide is the most important part. Because if you let Timmy say that one comment in that, you know, class with that movie, you really can't judge how that's going to transpire. Again, it's a question that I could make a whole video on, to be honest, and I would like to make a whole video on it sometime in the near future. I don't know. Yeah, that's all the kind of question topics that I did get. I just picked out the ones that I felt like I could answer best. But thank you to everyone that sent in questions. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being really open and just going for it and asking whatever you felt like you wanted to know. This is really fun to make, and it is something that I don't really think about a lot. I kind of just go live my day. So it's nice to stop and be reflective on my own experiences and the experiences of others, and how I can be helpful in the community and give people something as a little nugget of information. I'm rambling again. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time in my next video or somewhere else on the internet. But until then, I hope you have a really great day, night, time, whatever you're experiencing right now. Go and have a good one. Have a cup of tea on me. So anyway, until next time, I've rambled enough. I've been Rudy. Goodbye.